This movie is about selecting ranges. We're going to select ranges in a number of different ways. And the way that you select a range really is determined by the size of the range you're trying to select. We can select by clicking and dragging. We can hold the Shift key down and click the box out of range. We have the alternative to use F8 and get Excel into the extend mode instead of using the Shift key. We can use the Control, Shift, or F8 key to quickly map out the perimeter of an occupied range. Or for very large areas, we can use F8 and the extend mode and the name box. I've got some data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, from 2002 through half of 2012. The base period is 1982 to 84, where that equals 100, so any number in any of these cells is a multiple of the base period. So in June of 2012, it would require $229 roughly to buy what you could buy with $100 in 1982 to 84. But I'm going to use this data for demonstrating how you can select different ranges of data. If you have a fairly small range that you need to select, you can click and drag. So I'm going to click April and drag down. I'm holding the left mouse button down and now I'm releasing. So I selected a range by clicking and dragging. When using this method, it's important that you get the white cross when you select your point of origin. If I were to select April and I got this and I wanted to click and drag, I would actually not click and drag. I would be dragging and dropping. I'm going to release the left mouse button, or moving the contents of G13, which was the active cell, to the current active cell. Do you want to replace the contents of the destination cells? I'm going to say cancel because that's not what I want to do. So what you want to see is this. You also don't want to see this, because if I try to click and drag, what I'm doing is actuating autofill, and obviously I release and I get autofill filling out the sequence of the months in the range that I have selected. That's not what I want either. So make sure you get the white cross. Another way to select a range is to select your point of origin, G13, I'll leave it there, and hold the Shift key down and go over to another point, which is the lower right-hand corner, assuming that the first point is the upper left-hand corner of the range, and left-clicking, and I've selected a range. Now I can select a range making the original point the lower right-hand corner just by clicking above to the left of where I started from. So what the Shift key does is anchor G13 so that G13 will be in the range, and the rest of the range will be defined as a four-sided figure depending upon where it is that you click. I'm left-clicking, left-clicking, left-clicking. I'll release the Shift key. Another way to have done this, and I'll left-click G13 again, is to press the F8 key, which I just did. And now I have no key pressed. I'm not holding down the F8 key. By pressing the F8 key, it kicks Excel into the extend mode so that I can do the same thing I just did when I held down the Shift key. It anchors G13 to be part of the range, and the rest of the range is going to be defined by the other corner that's juxtaposed against the position of G13. Once you select your range by pressing F8 and getting Excel into the extend mode, you need to press F8 again to get Excel out of the extend mode, because if I don't, and I left click somewhere, I just change the definition of the range. So once you select your range, press F8 again, otherwise you'll still be in the extend mode. We can also use F8, which I'll press right now, F8. With the Control key, I'll hold down the Control key, which will allow us to go to the end of the contiguous range we're working in. If I press the right arrow key, I'll go over to column R. The down arrow key, I'll go over and extend the range as far down as it goes, which is column 24. The left arrow key, now I've shifted the range to be oriented to the left of my starting point, which again is G13. the white cross is still there. So if you have a larger range to select, and we have a fairly small range to deal with, you can anchor the beginning point by pressing F8, kicking Excel to the extend mode, press and hold the control key, and then press either the arrow keys to get to the outer edge of the contiguous range of data. I'll press the F8 key to get out of the extend mode and reselect G13. Another way to select a large range using the extend mode or the F8 key is to first press the F8 key. I'm going to use the name box to select the other end of the range, or the other corner, that in this case is going to be O50,000. Enter. And just that quickly, we can select what is a huge range, and of course we could have gone down to O500,000 just as quickly. So that was selecting ranges, a contiguous range. We need to make sure when we select the range that we don't accidentally select the fill handle at the lower right-hand corner of the active cell, and that we don't end up clicking and dragging to move the contents, in which case we'd see the four-sided arrow. So look for the white cross. But we can select a range by holding the left mouse button down and clicking and dragging. We can pick the point of origin, press the Shift key, and left-click another corner of the range to define the range that way. We can use the Shift key or the F8 key to get Excel in extend mode, and then left-click another corner of the range, after which we need to press F8 again to get Excel out of the extend mode. We can use the extend mode, F8, or the Shift key, and then press the Control key, and then the arrow keys in any direction to get to the outer edge of the contiguous range we're working in and trying to select. We can also use the extend mode, the F8 key, to anchor a corner or define a corner of our range, and then put in the name box another corner of the range to quickly select a very large portion of the worksheet.